Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode and another start of a week of Before Coffee. This is Mucking Fun Day. That's right, it's Monday. Everything kind of sucks, but we've got some news for you to keep you up to date with what's going on in the world after the weekend, which I hope you didn't pay attention to any news at all, because that's what I told you to do on Friday.
You should have just been watching sports.
The one and only international game show with your father and daughter, comprehensive news. We've got coffee in our body. We're learning to read live on stream. Let's read these headlines. I need to stop remaking the intro because my brain doesn't understand.
Maybe I'll just say that part, right?
Well, I tried to get you into the intro, but then you were like, I don't want to do that last time.
That's
also hard. It's hard to time because we have a delay, right? So it'll be like, and this is, and then it'll be like 5 seconds, and you'll go, the one and only international game show.
Yeah, and the delay's different every time.
Yeah.
The delays, that's why it's an international show with all the glitches involved in international communications. Shoot. Nothing's perfect.
Let's get into the headlines.
Pretending it is is
Today,
the non-gaslight news.
This is not working. I think it's not working. It says it's connected.
Oh.
Why are you like this?
Is what connected?
I can't tell.
YouTube?
I'll just assume it's working. Today on Mucking Fun Day. Russia using Shadow Fleet tankers to launch drones towards European cities, Zelensky warns. And Iraqi man sentenced to life over recruiting fighters for Russia against Ukraine.
And happy Mucking Fun Day. Where in the United States we have 58 million pounds of corn dogs and sausage on a stick products recalled, plus comedians are slamming big-time comedians for taking blood money.
Moldova's election! They have chosen Europe, but there are protests due to what people see. Well, it says Moldova's pro-EU party wins clear parliamentary majority, defeating pro-Russian groups.
Okay. And the rewilding milestone Earth is already passed in environmental news.
In my culture news, John Oliver on Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. Have you watched the BB Files?
Netanyahu is a punk. Netanyahu is a punk. And it's National Coffee Day on the new and improved. Before coffee. That's right. We're new and improved. And we're comedy line. We've upped our game. So up yours. It's September 29th, 2025 on Before Coffee. Primer in again.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that because I wanted to say it, but I knew I would mess it up. But I guess you messed it up too. So we're even.
Right? Yeah. I don't even have a script, so it's like, let me make something up.
Just when you say something enough times, your brain is just like, it just comes out of your mouth without thinking, really. Your brain just doesn't even
you have the script in your head by now. You have the script in your head, and when I change it, it's going to be, oh, shoot. That part's different.
That's not supposed to be there. Okay, we're going to start off with, of course, our segue wheel. We always roll the wheel. That's just the game show part. We roll the wheel and it tells us what we're going to say in between our stories because why think when the wheel can decide?
That's right. And we award lucrative prizes, such as a pat on the back. Yeah. Or
if you fail to do your
friendly
segue,
chuckle.
you have to drink Tabasco with your coffee. Oh, that sounds like an awful combination.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. You can take my word for it.
There's Tabasco in this.
Ooh, that's terrible, Tabasco.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
It's terrible. I'm not actually drinking Tabasco.
Your
All right, go ahead,
segue
do
is
your
associate. So associate this story or these two stories with something.
No way. Okay,
And we're going to be
associates.
talking about, of course, my favorite topic as a person living in Europe, the Ukraine war. Zelensky is warning Europe that this shadow fleet is not only getting around sanctions by delivering oil and selling it to Europe, but they also might use it to, attack Europe with drones. Just launch drones from all these oil tankers. This is on the Kyiv Independent by Dmytro Bazmat. Russia's so-called shadow fleet of oil tankers are being used to launch and control Russian drones over European cities, President Vladimir Zelensky said yesterday on the 28th of September, citing intelligence reports. The comments come amid increased tension between Russia and NATO countries over airspace violations. Over the past month, Russian drones have violated Polish, Romanian, and possibly even Dutch, Finnish, and Danish airspace. Wow, they came all the way to the Netherlands. That's pretty scary. Well, it's not that scary, but it's shocking, right? Like, NATO's not doing anything about this, or they are, but they're not telling us.
Yeah.
On September 19th,
we have a line in the sand,
which was Friday,
but the sand keeps
Estonia
blowing.
accused Russia of violating its airspace with 3 MiG-31 fighter jets. Those aren't drones. Those are jets. Those are totally different from Poland.
MiGs.
Which remained in Estonian airspace for 12 minutes, triggering the NATP's Article 4. While on September 26th, which was last Friday, so every Friday they're testing the NATO airspace. September 26th, Hungarian fighter jets intercepted 5 Russian aircraft over the Baltic Sea. Zelensky made the comments during his evening address, calling for additional sanctions to be implemented on Russia's shadow fleet amid the drone threats. I bet what he really wants to say is, come on, NATO, let's beat up Russia, but he doesn't want to be known for starting a world war, so he's not saying those words. Yeah, sanctions! This is the only thing Europe will agree with. More sanctions! It's not...
Oh yeah, let's do nothing. Let's do the nothing we did last time.
Yeah. Appeasement. It's especially important that the sanctions hit Russia's energy trade and the entire infrastructure of Russian tanker fleet painfully, Zelensky said. This is further evidence that the Baltic Sea and other seas could be closed. Russian tankers, at least, for the shadow fleet. Russia's shadow fleet has been increasingly targeted by Western sanctions as Ukraine's international partners seek to limit Russian oil revenues, which help fund Moscow's war machine. The shadow fleet includes hundreds of older, often uninsured or poorly maintained tankers from all over the place. India, China, I think there's like an oil tanker from, Hungary as well. It's just whoever they can get in their fleet, really. Whoever just cares about that money, right? All I care about is money. I'll work with the Russian shadow fleet so I can sell my oil. These typically operate under the flags of other countries and have little transparency, making it difficult for regulators to enforce sanctions. Well, this ship is from India and we don't have any sanctions against India, but I can put a flag, right? I can put a flag out and just say where I'm from.
Anybody,
Amid the European Union's anticipation 19th sanction package, U.S. officials have also considered new sanctions on the Russia shadow fleet should Russian dictator Vladimir Putin fail to agree to ceasefire in Ukraine. Well, he's not. We already talked about this for months at this point. He's not going to. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Pigs will fly. Despite an initial deadline for the sanctions being set for August 8th, U.S. convicted felon Trump has yet to implement additional sanctions on Russia. Following Zelensky's meeting in New York on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly earlier this week, the Ukrainian president said in his evening address to Kyiv, counts on strong steps from the United States of America. So, speaking of appeasement, just got to keep on appeasing the United States because they're the biggest ally towards anybody getting beat up by Russia, sadly. But I'm sure you can
then they're allies of Russia,
so
that doesn't even work.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can associate this with the world just doing absolutely nothing while Nazi Germany took over basically everything around them.
Famous, yeah.
Yeah, appeasement, yeah. Neville Chamberlain was associated with him. He'll forever be known as the guy who said, I have guaranteed peace in our lifetime in 1939. Right?
Thanks, Chamberlain. That sure worked. Thank God for you.
Here you go. Here you go, Hitler. You can have Poland, but we got peace in our lifetime. Okay, whatever, morons. Again, all the appeasers of Trump, take note also. You're not getting any reward for appeasing him. Nothing. There's no reward. You're just delaying the inevitable. All right. Sorry.
No, you
I
don't
went a little far.
apologize.
Went on a tangent. Yeah. Don't appease fascists. Fascists want you to appease them. That's what their goal is. Christ. I mean, are you kidding me? You 100% need to oppose fascism in any form. I don't care what side it's coming from. Go. All right. Is it my story or do you have two?
I have another story, a little more to do with Ukraine, because in Iraq, a man has been sentenced to life in prison for funneling soldiers to fight Russia against Ukraine.
What a dirtbag. Jeez.
Mercenary work, I guess. I don't know. This is from Gavin Blackburn on Euronews. Iraqi judicial officials and a senior security officer said the man, who they identified as Risan Falah Kamel, was convicted of recruiting fighters and sending them to fight alongside Russia. An Iraqi man has been sentenced to life in prison for human trafficking after he recruited Iraqi nationals to fight for Russia against Ukraine. I wonder where my uncle Hamad went. Well, he probably died in Ukraine somewhere. And we're never going to get to find his body. This unregistered fighter, right? He's been human trafficked to fight for Russia, so he's probably registered under Russian command. And you can just easily just erase him out of the books. That guy, don't know him. I don't think he ever died. I don't think he was here. The Najaf criminal court said in a statement that the convicted man had formed groups and sent them to fight in foreign countries in exchange for financial compensation, and that the verdict was issued based on Iraqi's anti-human trafficking law. An Iraqi judicial official and senior security officer who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they're not authorized to comment, said the man whom they identified as Risan Falah Kamel was convicted of recruiting fighters and sent them to fight alongside Russia. Earlier this year, Ukrainian officials said that a significant number of Chinese nationals were fighting with Russia's army, and that they had gathered detailed intelligence on more than 150 mercenaries Moscow allegedly recruited through social media. Wow, they said I could make $1 million in a year as long as I don't die. Beijing denied the allegations. Well, I mean, maybe Beijing's not doing it officially, right? But it could be something like this, right? There's a Chinese national just recruiting people to go fight for Russia as mercenaries, and probably getting a load of cash in his pockets, recruitment fee, you know? Hey, thanks! Here's your recruitment fee. Russia thanks you. U.S. and South Korean officials also say that North Korea has sent thousands of troops and ammunition to help Russia on the battlefield, fighting mainly to retake control of Kursk, where Ukrainian forces launched a surprise incursion last August. After initially remaining silent on the claims, Pyongyang confirmed in April that it had sent Korean troops to Russia. Kim Jong-un had sent troops to Russia under a mutual defense treaty that both countries ratified in 2024. It's funny when you ratify a defense treaty in the middle of you starting a war with another country. Yeah, we have to defend our borders after we started a war against them. This is a defense. Yeah, we're defending ourselves from attacking. I guess that's allowed. In a fist fight, you're allowed to defend. But
you know what they say: if crime fighters fight war, I'm sorry. I'm going to try this again. If firefighters fight fires, if crime fighters fight crime, what do freedom fighters fight?
Freedom. Wait a minute.
Okay, sorry.
They say they who fought for justice are all heroes and representatives of the honor of the motherland, Kim said, according to a statement sent to state media. That's all I had to say, actually, just that one line. And that's the end of my article.
Right. I'll associate this with Putin's Flying School. He's opening a new annex to the Putin's Flying School. It's the Come and join the Vladimir Putin's new exciting scouting
Division.
organization.
Yeah.
We're going to learn how to build the bombs
You
from
manufacture
various household items.
80,000 whatever. What currency do they use?
Make 1 million rubles being a target. Anyway.
I swear
That's
they
my
must
best
have
Russian
commissions
accent
going on,
for
right?
Monday.
Why would you be selling out your own countrymen to another country to die in their war if you're not making a lot of cash on that, you know?
Right.
And that's why it's human
Life
trafficking, by the
going
way.
nowhere.
Because somebody's recruiting people and making money off of it. That makes it human trafficking.
Are you tired of your neighbors saying that you're a nobody? Come to Russia, be somebody. Be a target. Be a target. 1 million rubles. We won't tell you what a ruble is worth, but it's a warm bucket of spit. But yeah. Okay. You can be a millionaire in Russia. A lot easier in the United States. For sure. All right.
Let's cheer for that. And let's roll the next segue for your story.
Okay. We're going to talk about...
It is time for...
We're going to talk about the corn dog
Fun.
recall. How many corn dogs are in? Bad pun. How about corn dogs? That's kind of easy. There are a lot of dog
That's
puns.
super easy.
50
I'm gonna have
AP
3 of them.
News. How many corn dogs would be in 58 million pounds? How much of it is corn and how much of it is dog? 58 million pounds of corn dogs. Sausage on a stick products recalled. If you know what sausage on a stick is, it's one of those mall stores where you drink lemonade and hot dog, $8 or whatever. This is from New York, from the Associated Press. About 58 million pounds of corn dogs and other sausage on a stick products are being recalled in the U.S. because of pieces of wood may be embedded in the batter.
Ooh, we love some wood filler to increase the weight of our corn dogs.
Well, plus it's fiber. It's good for you. Your body can't digest it. It just goes right through your system. I got splinters in my ass. I get splinters in your ass from... Right. According to Saturday Notice, published by Agriculture Department's Food and Safety Inspection Service, which still exists somehow, the recall covers select state fair corn dogs on a stick and Jimmy Dean pancakes and sausage on a stick. Sausage on a stick. Then the way nature intended it. Products from Texas-based Hillshire Brands, which is a subsidiary of Tyson Foods, no relation to Mike Tyson. The contamination problem was discovered after Hillshire received multiple consumer complaints, the service notes, 5 of which involved injuries. The company later determined that the limited number of these products included extraneous pieces of wood, the wooden stick within the batter. So the wooden stick's supposed to be like an afterthought. Somehow it ends up in the batter. That's just bizarre. Maybe your procedures are screwy. Tyson said in a corresponding announcement, adding that opted to initiate a recall out of an abundance of caution. The recalled corn dogs and sausage on a stick goods were produced between March 17th and as recently as Friday. Boy, they've been doing this for 6 months. Per Saturday's recall notices, Tyson, which is headquarters in Arkansas, no surprise there, says that the issue was isolated to one facility located in Altorn City, Texas. Don't know where that is. It's probably near Dallas or something. FSIS is worried that some of these recalled products may be in consumers' refrigerators and freezers and households in the U.S., as well as some schools and other institutions. In addition to being sold online and retailers nationwide, the HSC noted Saturday that these products were sold to school districts and the Defense Department's facilities. The Defense Department. We're feeding our soldiers hot dog on a stick. Oh boy. I'm just saying, come on. Don't you have cooks anymore?
I want to say a dirty joke, but you know, it's fine.
Well, you got your chance because that's the end of the story.
Okay.
Let's do the end. Foreign object contamination was the top reasons for food recalls in the U.S. Beyond plastic, metal fragments, bits of bugs, and more extraneous materials have prompted recalls by making their way into packaged foods. But you don't expect the chunks of wood. So let's have your pun.
Sausage
dog
pie?
and wood related.
Count me in.
Oh God, is that really?
Hey, this joke is
hold
well
on a second.
battered. And you know what they say about corn dog lovers? They're truly golden.
What?
I told you, there's so many good one-liners for corn dog.
What wood do you do? I don't know. There's a wood pun. Okay, next story.
Okay.
Comedians. We have comedians going to Saudi Arabia to pick up some fast cash by telling
Saudi
jokes
Arabia's
that aren't
media
gonna offend
empire, slowly buying off all of the things, including sports, to make all that mad cash.
Yeah. Yep. Saudi Arabia has bought a lot of America's famous golfers, well, the world's most famous golfers. They've done a lot of crap that's harmful to the world.
Aren't
now
they
they're just trying to
the soccer. They're sponsoring and the NBA. I think they're trying to buy
So now-
EA, the gaming company. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia bribing the world's comedians, even the cutting edge ones, the so-called cutting edge comedians are supposedly telling the truth all the time. Well, here we go, cutting edge comedians taking a big old bribe to go to Saudi Arabia. Let's
and they're
name
probably
them.
not going to have to censor all their jokes too in Saudi Arabia.
And again, I want to see the acts. That's what I want to see. I want to see their acts, and if they tell any jokes, they'll get their hands chopped off. That's what I want to see, because I want to see some bravery in these motherfuckers. I don't want to see them just taking money and telling jokes that are, oh no, that might offend our host today. Anyway, the suckers that are taking the payday. This is from Anna. I'm sorry, the writer of this story is Anna Kopersky of New Jersey Advanced Media for NewJersey.com. And she lists your more famous ones. Your more famous ones taking the big payday are Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Sebastian Maniscalco, Kevin Hart, Pete Davidson, Aziz Ansari, Hannibal Buress, Mo Amer, Jeff Ross, and Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker still has a career? Wow, I'm amazed.
He's a comedian?
These comedians...
I guess that makes sense.
Oh yeah, everybody thought he was Chris Rock. Chris Tucker, famous for being the guy that does the movie
from
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a comedian.
I know you know.
I've only seen him in those movies. I guess he was funny in the movies. Fair enough.
Yeah, famous for being confused with Chris Rock. All right, but Chris Rock's not on this list. Maybe he wasn't asked. These comedians and more are billed Ad Comedy Festival currently underway in Saudi Arabia. Boy, there's so much to laugh at in Saudi Arabia. Oh my God. Their participation in the event has drawn criticism from fans and fellow comedians, including some who were asked to perform there and declined. The festival was subject of a recent comedy clip from stand-up and podcaster Mark Maron, one of your podcasting superstars from,
I mean, a lot of these, if I want to be
he started,
a lot of these comedians are sellouts.
Not Mark Maron, because Mark Maron is criticizing him. So Mark Maron, who started
the ones on the list, a lot of those are famous for just being like, yeah, I'll sell out.
Cutting edge. Yeah. Cutting edge, not afraid to say anything. I mean, okay, anyway, Mark Maron, who has something to say. I mean, the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid that guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase, Maron said, speaking in the journalist and Washington Post columnist was murdered in 2018 by the government agents of Saudi Arabia.
Ooh.
But don't let that stop the yuck. It's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, he continued, I was not asked at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so it's kind of easy for me to take the high road in this one. Easy to maintain your integrity when nobody is offered to buy it out. Marone, a New Jersey City native who spent part of his childhood in Wayne. We got to do the New Jersey connection because of the writer in the paper that's writing for. Repression of free speech is no laughing matter, the nonprofit Human Rights Watch said on Instagram. Comedians performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival falls in the seventh anniversary of Jamal Khashoggi's murder should use this platform to defend free speech in Saudi Arabia. The organization posted a video pointing out some of these same comedians have spoken in support of free speech, a right that allows them to do their jobs. Will they use their platform to defend free speech in Saudi Arabia, the group asked. Another comedian, Zach Woods of Silicon Valley in the Office, addressing the Riyadh Comedy Festival in a satirical Instagram video. All of your favorite comedians are performing at the pleasure of Turki Al-Sheikh. And he is the head of the entertainment authority over there. And he has so many people thrown in prison because they tweeted stuff he didn't like about the soccer team or whatever. And there's a wing of the prison named after him where they hang people by their heels from the ceiling, said Woods, who was born in Trenton and grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Now, there's a lot of drips, killjoys, and dweebazoids who are saying, oh, they shouldn't do comedy over there because it's whitewashing a regime that just in June killed a journalist and killed Jamal Khashoggi and played the big role in 9/11. Name one comedian who hasn't dictated. That's all sarcasm, by the way. Woods went on to give several examples of this. Let's not get our moral panties yanked up, wedged high in our rumps, he said, pointing to the concerns of Human Rights Watch. The journalist Woods referenced in his video was Turki al-Jasser, who was executed in June for high treason in Saudi Arabia after being detained for 7 years. The Arab writer can be easily killed by the government under the pretext of national security, the journalist tweeted in 2014. Comedian Asako Okatsuka said she turned down an offer to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Okatsuka shared the letter she received from the festival on Threads along with the censorship rules for performing there. The money is coming straight from the Crown Prince who actively executed journals, people with non-lethal drug offenders, bloggers without due process. A lot of you can't say anything anymore. Comedians are doing the festival. A lot of the you can't say anything anymore comedians are doing the festival. In other words, the people that are buddies with Joe Rogan and say, oh, the U.S. government, oh, politically correct, and oh, it's all woke. But they're gonna go to Saudi Arabia where they can't say shit and take some money from them. So they're completely full of it. They had to adhere to censorship rules about the types of jokes they can make. Those rules, which she shared, include a restriction that the comedians cannot prepare or perform any material that may be considered degrade, defame, or bring into public disrepute, contempt, scandal, embarrassment, or ridicule. That's jokes. That's how jokes work.
Yep.
So you're not going to say anything funny. The kingdom of you cannot ridicule A, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, including its leadership, public figures, or culture of people. B, the Saudi royal family, legal system, or government. Or C, any religion, religious tradition, religious figure, or religious practice. Unless it's Jewish, and you can make fun of the Jews all you want. I guarantee it. Comedian Burbiglia shared.
Okay.
I'm just saying, Saudi Arabia, they have no patience for Jews. Comedian Mark Burbiglia shared that he also passed on performing at the festival. I haven't heard of him. Respect to Atsuko and Shane and others for passing. He said, referring to another comedian, Shane Gillis. Good for Shane Gillis, who is accused of being Shane Gillis, if you don't know, he was about to be Saturday Night Live, and then he made a off-color Chinese joke, so they pulled him from the cast, and then he got famous for that, and then became a money-making thing for them. But at least he has integrity. He has integrity. They asked me to go, and I said nope. He said, I took a principled stand. Gillis said on his podcasting that he turned down a large amount of money. You don't 9/11 friends. There's your story on comedians who hopefully will do their acts and not go, well, the Saudi prince might get offended, but they're not going to. They're not about to risk prison.
And that's just more proof that they are sellouts, right? Because a lot of money, right? Offered a lot of money, a large amount of money. I can see Kevin Hart doing this because he's anything for a buck, and he's really not the funniest guy in the world either. So, I mean, most of Kevin Hart's humor is about being short and other people making fun of him being short. But he seems like the type. Now, Chappelle and Bill Burr ought to be ashamed of themselves. Unless they're going to do their regular acts. But I imagine they're just going to go off on transgenders the whole time. Yeah, if they start doing jokes about, fascism or something, they'll probably get put in the special prison ring. What I see here, and I don't know if this is true or not, but what I see here is that these people consider themselves too big to be arrested, right? They don't think they're in danger at all, which is why they took the deal. They wouldn't kill me. I'm Dave Chappelle. I'm Dave Chappelle. They wouldn't kill me. I'm famous.
And the thing is, there's nobody in the United States government that's going to give a shit if they are locked up. So I'm just saying, the United States government is like, well, tough shit. Good for Saudi Arabia. They locked up some comedians. We wish we could lock up comedians. So again, they're probably, if they do assault it, they might get locked up, and then nobody's going to come and get them. Who's going to go get them? Israel? Who's going to go get them? I'm just saying.
Are they going to extradite them? Are they going to do a trade for somebody who's in Guantanamo Bay probably still? I don't know.
Oh, the United States government would love for all the comedians to get locked up, all of them, because they don't trust them. They don't trust comedy. Comedians supposed to tell the truth, and that's in danger, and that sucks. All right, so next spin.
My pun is... I tried to find a pun about, like, selling out, but I couldn't find anything. So instead, we're just going to go, this sale is hotter than your morning coffee spill. Because they're I'm not anti-sellout, but I'm anti-sellout when it's people who are like, oh, censorship, right? When specifically the people are like, oh, they're going to stop me from saying anything. Anyways, I'm going to go get billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia who's going to stop me from saying anything, right? They're going to censor me.
Yeah, and I can see, like, Chris Tucker at some of these guys whose careers is like, does Chris Tucker still have a career, you know? But everybody else is like, to me, you're just for a payday, and for the rest of your careers, unless you don't, if you do a nonconformist act, the rest of your career is going to be like, hey, you're the guy that took blood money. How much did you get to sell your principles down the river?
Also, Pete Davidson's entire comedy bit is that his dad died in 9/11, one of the first fire trucks. Like, he has a comedy bit about that. He's not going to tell that joke. Right. In Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. Or he could tell jokes about being hooked up with Kanye West's ex, right? I've seen a Pete Davidson joke. I've seen a Pete Davidson joke.
Who he's dated over the years, I guess, yeah.
I've seen a Pete Davidson joke where he said he was going to cozy up to Charlie Kirk's ex, which is really funny. So it's dark and it's funny. I laughed.
Maybe he'll do that,
He's like, yeah, I like fascist exes.
All right, let's roll our next segue.
Fascist simps exes. Pete Davidson is a stand-up act. I had no idea.
Ooh, that's right on the corner. I think it's hypothetical. Come up with a hypothetical question,
what's
story,
the other choice?
Or whatever scenario for my next story. Right. Which is about the Moldova elections. We talked about this on Friday, about how there was a lot of Russian propaganda. Oh, yeah. The whole machine was out there to make sure that Moldova was tricked into being pro-Russian and pro-money. But thankfully, Moldova's pro-EU party wins with a clear parliamentary majority. This is on AP News by Stephen McGrath. And there's a little I guess, why this matters. Moldova is a former Soviet republic, has in recent years taken a clear westward path, becoming a geopolitical battleground between Russia and Europe. In the wake of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, it applied to join the European Union and was granted candidate status that year. They basically put Moldova on a fast track. They wanted to get Ukraine on the fast track, but they couldn't convince anyone in the EU to accept Ukraine into the EU while they're in the middle of a war. They're like, we'll accept Ukraine after the war is finished, which is why everyone's working so much on this ceasefire so that they can end the war, get Ukraine in the UN, get Ukraine in NATO, get Ukraine in the EU, and then if Russia attacks, hopefully they won't, because they'll have to deal with the entire right of Europe, which is right now they're just not directly attacking Europe. The election was widely viewed as a choice for Moldovans between the path to the EU or drift back into Moscow's fold. Coming out of Chisinau, Moldova, Moldovans gave the country's pro-Western governing party a clear parliamentary majority in a weekend election, defeating pro-Russian groups in a vote widely viewed as a stark choice between East and West. The European leaders on today, the 29th of September, hailed Moldovans for reaffirming their commitment to a Western path and future membership in the European Union, in the face of an alleged Russian interference. The country is small in size and population, but with outsized geopolitical importance. It made a clear choice. Europe, democracy, freedom. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said in a post on Twitter, "No attempt to sow fear or division could break your resolve." Landlocked between war-torn Ukraine and EU and NATO member Romania, Moldova was a Soviet republic until it was proclaimed independence in 1991. In recent years, it has taken a clear westward path, turning the country into a geopolitical battleground between Russia and Europe. The outcome of the election yesterday on the 28th of September was high stakes, and considering Moldovan authorities' repeated claims that Russia was conducting a vast hybrid war to try to sway the outcome, which we talked about on Friday, right? Propaganda, bots, social media, TikTok, shorts, all saying, you need to vote for this pro-Russian guy because he's gonna save Moldova. With nearly all polling station reports counted today, electoral data showed that pro-EU Party of Action and Solidarity, or PAS, secured 50.1% of the vote, while the pro-Russian Patriotic Electoral Bloc won 24.2%. The Russian-friendly Alternative Bloc came third, followed by the populist Our Party. The right-wing Democracy at Home Party also won enough votes to enter parliament. So, we talked about this on Friday. The third and second place are very important because that's what creates the majority, to win a majority in the parliament. So that's what's important here. As long as the pro-Russian far-right people don't get enough votes so that they can actually basically stop any legislation, it's good. It's a good thing. Electoral data indicates the PAS will hold a clear majority of about 55 out of 101 seats in the legislature, so they don't even need to rely on the second or third place in order to get their seats. At the PAS campaign headquarters this morning in the capital Chisinau, I don't actually know how to say that, Chisinau or Chisinau, party leader Igor Grosu described the election as another battle against enemies of our country that once seemed impossible to defeat, saying the race was the final battle for the future. I hope so, because it does seem to be swapping back and forth, right? We'll have like far right for a while in Europe. Far right for a while, then gross, let's go super left, like what the UK. Well, the UK was a totally different story, but it's been happening here too. I think we're about to have an election next year in the Netherlands, and that will probably go left after the complete cock-up that was the current administration, which they just didn't do it. They haven't done anything. They haven't passed any laws. All they do is yell about immigrants and then don't pass anything if that actually matters for the country. After the election, Moldova's president nominates a prime minister, generally from the leading party or bloc, which can then try to form a new government. Proposed government that needs parliamentary approval. Since they have a majority, they don't have to worry about that, right? The president will nominate someone, that nominee will get straight through because they have a majority. Easy peasy. It is considered likely that President Maia Sandu, who founded PAS in 2016, will opt for some continuity by once again nominating Prime Minister Doran Grician, an economist, and who has steered Moldova's government through multiple crises since 2023. Grician also previously served as Sandu's defense and security advisor. Election day was dogged by a string of incidents ranging from bomb threats at multiple polling stations abroad to cyber attacks on electoral and government infrastructure, voters photographing their ballots and some being illegally transported to polling stations. 3 people were also detained, suspected of plotting to cause unrest after the vote. Igor Dodon, a former president and member of the pro-Russian Patriotic Electoral Bloc, called for the protest in front of the Parliament building today after alleging, without presenting any evidence, that PAS meddled with the vote. You know what they say when these far-right people say, you did something, they're just what they've done, right? Oh, you did that. I know because I've done it. Wait a minute, I didn't mean to say that last part. Christian Kanter, a Moldovan associate professor of international relations at Oakland University in Michigan, told AP that PAS's victory means it will be enabled to ensure continuity the next few years in the pursuit of their ultimate goal of EU integration. A PAS majority saves the party from having to form a coalition that would have most likely been unstable, would have slowed down the pace of reforms to join the EU. He said, but added, Moldova will continue to be in a difficult geopolitical environment characterized by Russia's attempt to pull it back into its sphere of influence. Some 1.6 million people, or about 52.1% of eligible voters, cast ballots, which is very high, sadly. Right? 50% is high. Most people get like 30 to 40%.
It's high for the United States.
Even the United States, which is all about voting, right? Oh, you gotta vote. They still get like 40% people showed up. According to Central Electoral Commission, with 280,000 of them coming from votes in polling stations set up abroad. So a lot of diaspora, Moldovan diaspora, were able to vote. I see progress in our government and in our evolution. How to be part of Europe, said 21-year-old student Nishita Pepadita. PS said Moldova will integrate into the European Union in 2028. For me, it's a little bit hard to believe, but I hope it will be. Now people are really choosing between Europe and Russia, he added. The Kremlin said hundreds of thousands of Moldovans living in Russia were unable to vote in the election due to the alleged lack of polling stations set up in the country. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said it was obviously insufficient and couldn't give everyone the opportunity to vote, without, of course, Kremlin's favorite line, providing any further details. I'm just gonna say shit and people will believe me because I'm the official spokesperson for the Kremlin.
Right.
No facts.
I say so.
Words.
It's true because I say so. Appeal to authority, fallacy.
And for anyone who doesn't know how you get into the European Union, I can't remember all the steps. But there's several different steps. Like you have to get your currency in the same line as the euro, so that way when you enter into the European Union, you don't crash the economy. You also have to have certain freedoms, right? Certain protections. You have to have the human rights at the same level. You know, you have to have similar laws.
Clip some coupons.
It's all about conforming to the European ideal, and if you're not doing that, you can't enter. So. Well, let's see what happens in, I guess, the next 3 years. Which is what they're giving themselves.
Join the EU.
Got a hypothetical?
It seems like I'm always getting a hypothetical with these ex-Soviet type states.
You can always you can always say reroll too.
I'm always getting the hypothetical with them. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if like there wasn't like real economies in these places where they didn't have to go, oh, we got to go that side or that side, and they can't make up their own minds about what they want. There's always some external force pulling on them.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad, but I guess it's
and
the way we.
And that external force happens to be their neighbor, Russia. So I mean, it is normal for external, your neighbors to be affecting your economy and because they're probably the people who buy stuff from you. Or in this case, right, if you remember, I think at the beginning of the year, Moldova had the oil pipe, the gas pipe even, with Russia.
Right.
And a bunch of Moldovans were going to freeze to death, including people in the Russian part of Moldova, right? Being completely abandoned by Russia. Oh, we care about the Russians in Moldova. We're going to let them freeze to death. But we care about you. So... I'm sure
this is why if capitalists really care.
Russia abandoned me this winter. Fuck them.
That's what I say about capitalists, right? They don't really necessarily care about capitalism existing in other countries. As long as they're making money off that country, they've got consumers that are forced to buy whatever they sell. Yeah, they care about capitalism. No, they don't. They don't care about capitalism. They just care about how much money they.
Yeah, and if nobody's going to buy their oil anyways, they're not going to sell it. So.
Like, did the capitalists care if China's got free speech or human rights? No, they're making money off China. Why would they give a shit? There's your spin wheel for my story, I guess.
I will spin the story, and also I'll do this.
All right.
And I got your video.
As the world. All right. The rewilding milestone Earth has already passed. This is from
pun. I love some puns, so I'll keep doing it.
This is from right. This is from Associated Press. Joseph Poole, Hannah Ritchie, Charles Godfrey. Sustainably and food researchers Joseph Poole, Hannah Ritchie, and Charles Godfrey look at places where shrinking farmland has freed up land for nature and how far the trend could go. Throughout the 20th century, humanity demanded more and more land, leading to the loss of vast areas of natural forest and grassland. Today, around half of the land is farmed. That's interesting. Used to grow crops or graze animals. In the United States, we use farmland to grow crops that aren't even used for food, right? We use it for soybeans and corn. Soybean ends up making plastic. Corn ends up making gasoline, which is a waste of corn, a waste of resources, because it costs more money to make the alcohol than energy it's actually going to save in the long run. So it's a complete loss of energy. But that's the United States just being totally screwed up the way it grows food. And of course, most of the food in the United States is exported to other countries, or used to be before the tariffs. However, according to the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, or the FAO, global agricultural land use has peaked in the early 2000s and has been falling ever since. Around the world, farmland is being replaced by grasslands, trees, and bush. Wild animals are returning to abandoned pasture land in areas that once dominated. Reaching peak agricultural land does not mean the problem in deforestation has solved. Growing demand for products like beef, soy, cocoa, and palm oil has increasing pressure on land access across South America. I got to get my Southeast Asia and Africa. In the last decade, the world has lost an area of tropical forest twice the size of Spain. Still, acre for acre across the world, there has been more farmland abandonment driven by reforestation in Europe and North America, and the abandonment of pastures in Australia and Central America. Just skipped a whole new page. Central Asia, sorry. There were a few reasons for this. Firstly, farming has become more efficient. The use of improved seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and irrigation in recent decades vastly increased how productive the land we farm is, doubling and even quadrupling yields depending on the crop and country. Since 1961, FAO data shows that productivity increases have spared 1.8 million hectares, or 4.4 billion acres, or around 35 Spains. We're going to measure things in Spains from now on. Yeah, it's 35 Spains, I think, of land. 35 Spains of land being brought in out of have spared lands from being brought into cultivation, right? So not farmland being reforested, so forth. We also squeeze more efficiency improvements in animal agriculture through intensive farming, productive animal strains, and optimized feeding regimes. All these intensified lower productivity lands have been abandoned in many countries. But it's not all about intensification. We have also replaced some land-hungry crops with near landless alternatives. Wool and cotton have been to a major extent replaced by synthetic fibers. Tobacco is rapidly being replaced by synthetic nicotine. Flavorings in foods such as vanilla and now largely synthetic Flavorings such as vanilla are probably terrible for your system. The global caffeine, although not coffee, market is dominated by production in labs. Synthetic sweeteners have replaced substantial amounts of sugar cane and sugar beet. We estimate that these synthetic substitutes have spared over 110 million hectares, or 2 Spains, from farming. We're just going to refer to Spains from now. Yeah. One particular striking example is the shrinkage of the global wool production has fallen by 50% from its peak in 1890. That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
Grazing lands in Australia, New Zealand.
Use wool clothes anymore, so nobody's buying wool.
Right. Maybe we'll start repopulating Scotland, right? Grazing lands in Austria, New Zealand, and Argentina, countries that used to be amongst the largest wool producers, have declined by 25%. Large areas of pasture have returned to nature, some which actively protected large areas of pasture have returned to nature, some of which is actively protected and home to unique species. For example, the huge 70,000 hectares, or I don't know, 3/4 of a Spain, White Welsh sheep farm in Australia is now, actually that's more than one Spain. It's like 1.5 Spains. I'm doing a calculation in my head. But anyway, this big place is now called the Charles Darwin Reserve, with 700 species of plant and 230 animals. Another 70,000 or 173 1,000-acre area in Argentina. Previously, the Chacabuca Sheep Ranch is now a nature reserve in the Ria and Nandu, a uncommon related to the ostriches and emus. There are many similar examples worldwide. Overall, the steady downturn in agricultural use is welcome. However, it does not continue, or is it fast enough to bring about the land use change we need to achieve our global climate or biodiversity goals? To keep global temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius, we need to tap the huge potential of our natural ecosystems to suck carbon out of the atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
What will happen in the future?
Plants that can that can grow in the place that you live. What an idea.
Yeah. Yields are still increasing in most crops around countries, as we will see, and more food grown each year on the same land, while fallow periods, the time where land is left bare, is decreasing. However, a critical unknown climate change, and depending on how much climate action we take, warmer, wetter, extreme climates could negatively affect yield growth, particularly if we don't adapt and develop more climate resilient crops. While global meat consumption is rising rapidly, driving increased demand for land, we are seeing evidence of consumers swapping from beef to lamb. Well, back to the sheep, raising sheep again, which use substantially amount less per kilogram. But I don't like to eat lamb, so I'm not going to do that. The pork and poultry, which use a lot less land, also. In Europe, we have seen a 20% reduction in beef and lamb, and a 20% increase in poultry and pork since 2000, sparing around 20 million hectares, which is about one Spain. Okay, so there's your, also lab grown, another, albeit less certain way to use farming, way land, another, albeit less certain way land use for farming drop in coming decades is the rise of the use of synthetic and lab grown foods. So if you're into that, I guess, with several landless substitutes for crops that have become mainstream, such as synthetic vanilla flavor and synthetic fibers. Many more have been developed and tested. Synthetic substitutes for oils, fats, and for example, have existed since the 1940s when margarine was first synthesized in fossil fuel in Germany. I would stay away from the synthesized horse shit that they're trying to push on you. I don't think that's good for you. I would just grow my own crops if I was going to do that, anything like that. But there's your story. On land use, it goes for quite a while more, but yes. We don't have a 4-hour show, so.
But it's really good to have to get the green stuff growing, right? Because the more just land that's just dead with nothing growing on it, the less carbon you can take out.
Right.
That's what's here to celebrate, and I think I'm really rooting for this to succeed.
Right. Rooting, is that a plant metaphor? Or a plant pun?
I had a pun. Bad pun.
Rooting, a pun. There you go, Pat. I got it.
You don't think
Definitely.
That was tremendously funny?
Tremendously. Oh man. Oh. I'll give you a green giant laugh.
Hey, I'm raising the pun bar.
The pun bar. Is it like a sushi bar?
No, the raisin. I'm raisin.
Oh, you're raising. I got it. Another pun. Oh man, I'm slow. Man.
Monday. It's Monday.
Homer.
At least I'm laughing.
Homer.
My face hurts. I need to stop laughing. I need to stop smiling.
Homer's doubled over now.
I like
Homer,
jokes so I can laugh at them. All right, let's get our next segue.
Right.
You double over?
Homer was doubled over.
You think I should leave you alone? Because you're laughing so hard?
Don't make him laugh again. He's already laying.
All right, well, time to tell a joke. So I'm gonna be laughing some more.
I got a joke.
Yeah,
about
for you to get the jokesters out. Get those dad jokes loaded.
All right.
Ready to go.
Maybe I already know one.
This is our culture segment. We're gonna talk about things that are going on in the, the zeitgeist. And over the weekend, which is last week tonight, John Oliver has tackled the topic of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu and used clips from the lead documentary, The Bibi Files, which the Israeli Prime Minister has tried to ban. And here's why it's vital to watch. This is by David Morplant on Euronews Culture. The latest episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver tackles Israel, specifically Benjamin Netanyahu, his effect on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and his long-standing corruption charges. It is impossible to overstate the death and suffering Netanyahu's decisions have caused, said Oliver. To the over 65,000 Palestinians who are dead, the thousands of children who are amputees, the thousands more who are starving, but also the Israeli hostages who've either died or are still being held because of his refusal to prioritize their safety and freedom. Oliver outlined Netanyahu's increasingly unfavorable ratings, both in Israel and the US, and talked of how the PM has aligned himself with extremist figures within the Israeli government. Extremists like Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who said, It may be just and moral to starve Gazans. I love when it's moral to starve people. The host explained why Netanyahu's allegations of corruption are at the heart of the current events, capping off the episode with the following. Is it worth asking, just who is Netanyahu really looking out for? Is it the people of Israel, who've been put at risk by endless war? Or is it the man who spent 15 years as prime minister and seems willing to do whatever it takes to squeeze out a few more? Yet again, maybe this is just the American in me, but if somebody's in power for more than 10 years, what the fuck's going on? Right? That's what I think. What the hell is this guy's deal? Just let it go, dude. Let the power go. You got 10 years to get your shit done. You got no shit done except for war constantly with Palestine. Give up. At this Last Week Tonight way, the episode managed to address a weighty topic and comprehensively distilled to its essence, masterfully delving into an urgent matter, outlining the horrific outcomes of the war and highlighting how it's clear that Netanyahu is desperate to stay in power and will do whatever it takes. Many of the arguments and facts laid out in the episode are delved into further detail in the must-see 24 documentary from Alex Bloom titled The BB Files. In fact, the week's episode of Last Week Tonight uses a clip from the documentary which featured leaked interrogation footage from a trial of Netanyahu and interviews with insiders who are willing to speak on the record. Oh yeah, I remember when he did that corruption thing and he got away with it too. Netanyahu attempted to stop the film from ever being released. First clue in there that it's very important to watch. Thankfully, his attempts were unsuccessful, and since its world premiere last year on Doc NYC in November, The BB Files has won 25's Political Film of the Year at the Cinema for Peace Awards. Much like the 8 films that were signed out to better understand the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, The BB Files is essential to understand the wider implications of a devastating humanitarian crisis which the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory has deemed a genocide. The people who literally right, that they were made to make Palestine and Israel a two-state solution are saying, yeah, you guys are committing a genocide right now against the two other second state in your two-state solution, by the way. It has also led Doctors Without Borders to suspend its work in Gaza due to dangers its workers face from the Israeli military. Like, tons of journalists and doctors have been killed by bombs. Oh yeah, there was terrorists in that hospital. The review of Euronews Culture of the review of the BB Files was this. This is the film Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want you to see, and he certainly tried. The Israeli Prime Minister did everything in his power to block the documentary from being screened. Thankfully, a Jerusalem court rejected the suit, which claimed that the films violated Israeli law by making use of interrogation footage. The film ended up screening at the Toronto International Film Festival as a work-in-progress film and officially had its world premiere last November. Now the documentary, directed by Alex, produced by Oscar winner Alex Gibney, has made it onto the shortlist for Best Documentary. In a race for the Academy Award, it joins several other titles like the Norwegian Palestinian production No Other Land, about settler violence and the expulsion of Palestinians from the West Bank villages, as well as an anthology film From Ground Zero about the situation in Gaza after the 7th of October. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't understand what settler violence is, it would be, I'm going to go out to the store to get milk. When I come home, all my stuff has been tossed out on the street. A bunch of Israelis have moved into my house and said, you don't live here anymore. Good luck with that milk, buddy. You have no fridge to keep it in. That is what settler violence is. This is a real thing they were doing. You couldn't leave your house because somebody might swap in and steal it from you. like it's a freaking
Uh-huh.
MMO land claim. For anybody who plays MMOs, you know what I'm talking about. Like, oh, I gotta get a house. The BB files, however, have been banned from being viewed in Israel, and until the new direct-to-consumer film platform Jolt picked it up, the film was in a distribution crisis, with no streaming platform daring to touch it. If we touch this film, Israel will ban us from the, Netflix can't get banned in Israel. What will they do? One country. Probably other countries too, right? Oh, Israel banned you, so we're going to ban you too. Maybe that's what they're worried about.
Somebody needs to smuggle it. Somebody needs to smuggle this and show it on a projector in the open air where everybody can see it.
Well, luckily, Jolt picked it up, so it is being distributed through Jolt. So I guess you can find it there if you would like to watch it. I'm sure there's other places you can find it. Less legal avenues.
Yep.
I'm trying to... This article goes for a while, so I want to skip through a couple of it. The resulting documentary is a hard-hitting chronicle that sheds light not only on Netanyahu's character, but shows how his unscrupulous nature has directly shaped the current state of the Middle East. Bloom does this by comprehensively and chillingly putting the puzzle pieces together and exposing how luxury objects like expensive cigars and champagne have impacted the lives of countless of Gazan and Israeli families. Dismiss them as trivialities and foibles of the rich, but the BB Files establishes a direct line between them and current-day tragedies, how a man's corruption and entitlement can trigger a domino effect that leads to war crimes. Yeah, just give BB like a bottle of wine. I'm going to use this to kill a Gazan family. The shocking documentary utilizes the leaked police interrogation footage of Netanyahu's wife Sarah and his ultra-right-wing son Yair, as well as an archival footage and several interviews with important voices in Israel. Journalists, politicians, including former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, to paint the picture of a man so self-righteous that he would do anything to keep his stranglehold on power, no matter who he has to accuse or who has to die in the process. Aside from Sarah and the Prime Minister's son, Yair, who make his dad look progressive, another key player is Israeli-born Hollywood billionaire Arnon Mishan, the former spy and Oscar-winning producer behind films like 12 Years a Slave, Eat and Fight Club. We hear of Mishan's ties to Netanyahu's request for luxury items directly from Mishan. Well, when he's in further question by the police, he confesses to extravagant donations, capping off things like, "All of BB's friends are rich, what can I say? If this comes out, I'm dead." All these strands currently come together reveal a web of corruption that goes beyond the accusation of expensive presents, forming the BB Files' central argument. To fully understand current events, one has to look at Netanyahu's legal predicament and acknowledge that both BB and Sarah know how to steal things they can't have. This segues to PM's present tactic of making instability and war the main conditions for his political survival. Oh god, panic mode. If everyone's always in panic mode that they're about to get killed by Gazans or whatever, he can do what the hell he wants as a politician, right? Don't look over there, look! Your family's been taken hostage. I'm gonna go buy a yacht real quick.
Yeah.
And of course, this goes into your theory, which I think a lot of people have this theory, right? He let October 7th happen as another distraction to further his corruption.
Oh, not only... You know who else had that theory right before he was shot? Charlie Kirk. Interesting, right? I've seen a video of Charlie Kirk going, isn't it interesting that Netanyahu let that happen?
Yeah.
What happened next? The very next thing that happened is he got shot. Was Netanyahu behind that? Perhaps? Maybe. I don't know. A lot of people are saying.
Having established direct correlations between Netanyahu's corruption trial and the radicalization of his policies, Bloom perceptibly ends the final act of the BB Files on the Hamas attacks. The footage is deeply upsetting, as is the presented evidence that Netanyahu is responsible for the continued existence of Hamas. Many of the experts who gave interviews persuasively argue that Netanyahu technically arranged Hamas to receive money via Qatar to maintain instability, believing that he could control the flames. As Netanyahu says in one of the leaked interview tapes, keep your friend close and your enemies closer. The fact that he's illustrating his power play by quoting The Godfather should tell you all you need to know about the man. His ploy to sustain extremists and weaken moderates massively backfired. Yeah, I'll control the. He needs to keep the extremists in existence so that there's always an enemy to fight against, right? We need to fight against Hamas. Guys, let me do this corrupted thing so I can continue fighting Hamas. This is all for fighting Hamas. And yeah, now
everybody is opposed to him as Hamas. Even the news media is Hamas. You're Hamas. You're Hamas.
The odds are that TV files won't oust Netanyahu from power. However, what Bloom achieves is just under 2 hours is staggering. Most impressive of all is her documentary shines a thorough and always factual presentation that avoids toppling into polemic. At no point does it become an apology for Hamas or condone any violence. It is quite simply art speaking truth to power that goes beyond infantile and frankly stupid arguments that equate any criticism of Israel to anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment. Netanyahu is a politician like any other. One that needs to go outside, that needs no outside help in signing his own despicable portrait when he ends an interview with a glib remark, "Time flies when you are having fun." This guy is a complete and total fool.
Sociopath. If he's having fun, he's a sociopath.
And kudos to the Academy voters if it makes the final 5 contenders. Should the BB Files head to the Oscars in March, there's a strong case to be made for it winning the Best Documentary trophy, which will only get more eyes on it, right? More people to watch it. Whether it does or not is irrelevant, though, as it remains essential viewing, one deserving of its very reward. Quite what it would be called to another matter. Best what? Truth to Power film? Expose of human greed and moral compromise? Cinematic representation implicating morally indefensible Netanyahu and lackeys? That's the award it deserves. Euronews gives the BB Files all 3 imaginary gongs, especially the last acrostic. It's banned in Israel due to privacy laws. Despite legal status, it has been widely pirated and distributed in Israel, so you can find a link somewhere. Find a friend of one of your pirate friends. They'll get you a link. You can watch the film on Prime Video and Apple TV, probably everywhere else. So please check it out. Watch. This is why I love documentaries and I want to be a documentarian myself, because I just enjoy revealing the lines that connect to create a scenario that is real and factual. No?
Yeah.
All these things work together.
Yeah, who is this guy who we're just letting dictate U.S. policy, right? He isn't even, he's basically an American.
Also,
he was educated at 2 American universities.
And Demigorge. Sorry I missed your messages since I was
Good
ranting about Netanyahu.
Good morning. I have 2 jokes. The first one is, boy, I hope this does get nominated for Oscar. And if it doesn't, well, then Mel Gibson has a scoop. Hollywood is controlled by the Jews, right? This is a joke. It's a joke. My other joke is Netanyahu, while he's visiting the UN the other day, heard somebody yell, "Free Palestine!" And he thought it was, wow, what a bargain. Free Palestine. What a bargain.
That's way cheaper than how much I'm paying for right now.
Right, yeah. There's your bad joke for a very unfunny situation. And we go on to this day in history.
Your bad jokes, your dark jokes. Let's roll our wheel for this day in history.
Right. BB the Butcher is what we call it here. BB the Butcher.
All right,
I'm sure other people have come up with that one.
This day in history.
This day in history. This day in 1642, Arab General Amir ibn al-As marched into Alexandria and the Arab conquest of Egypt, which had begun with an invasion 3 years earlier, ended in peaceful capitulation. Okay, not much happening there.
Yeah, reminder, Egypt has been conquered by the Greeks, by the Africans, and by whoever the Arabs are. I don't know who the Arabs are. Persians, maybe?
The Arab
people from Iraq? I don't know what Arabs are. That's like too much of an umbrella term.
But I think Egyptians consider themselves Arabs. No, I don't know. I have no idea. 1829.
Because of what you just talked about, they're multicultural. They've been for centuries multicultural.
Right. Yeah, it's all. Yeah, they're in that border between Europe and
Africa and Asia.
Africa, right? It's right.
There.
Right. You got the straits of, what is it? The canal. What's that canal? The Suez Canal.
Yeah.
1829, through the efforts of Robert Peel, England's first professional police force, London's Metropolitan Police, often called Scotland Yard, was founded. It became a model for future police departments in various other countries, including the United States, which seems absurd because the United States has different types of police completely. The police in America are armed to the teeth, for instance. They even have armored cars for some reason. 1833, King Ferdinand VII of Spain died, and his 2-year-old daughter, Isabel II, was proclaimed queen. 2 years old, and she was the queen. And of course, the cry went forth, "Where's the Queen's binky? Somebody find the Queen's binky. We can't find it." She's 2. Right? What does she care about? She cared about her binky, and that's it.
Binky.
Whatever the Spanish word for binky is. 1906, the United States occupied Cuba after the rebellion surrounding the re-election of Thomas Estrada Palma. The United States said, "We don't like your elections."
We don't like who won,
the
so
US,
we're gonna tell you to do it again.
The U.S. doing the espionage we always do, trying to force other people to like their leaders, and they never do. 1918, German Chancellor Georg von Hertling tendered his resignation on the day of the Bulgarian armistice and the British attack from the Western Front during World War I. World War I ended about a month later, so it didn't really amount to much. 1938, Poland demanded possession Hessian, a rich region that had been contested and then divided between Poland and Czechoslovakia. 1938, Poland making demand. Oh, that went over big. Like 1 year later, they were part of Germany. 1938, the American greatest trotter to ever race established a trotting record for 1 mile at 1.55 and a quarter minutes. So less than 2 minutes to go a mile is... Yeah, trotting at about, well, let's see, if it was 2 minute mile in 30 miles an hour, so a little bit faster than 30 miles. 1961, Julia Gillard, who in 2010 became Australia's first female prime minister, was born in Wales. Australia's first female prime minister is from Wales. Interesting.
1988. A lot of people in Australia are from not Australia, yeah?
Yeah, but yeah, she moved, like I'm saying, her parents moved to Wales, or she moved to, Australia probably because, hey, it sucks here. I don't know. Why were people emigrating from Wales to Australia?
Destroyed by Thatcher, sadly, so it kind of does.
Well, in the 60s? Thatcher wasn't in power in the 60s. I'm thinking
she moved.
I'm thinking her parents must have moved to Australia.
I have no idea about that. But it definitely
we don't know when she moved to Australia.
Okay.
She could have moved to Australia 5 minutes before she was elected. I don't know what the rules were in there. 1988, Discovery was launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, marking the resumption of the space shuttle program after the Challenger exploded in 1986. They grounded the fleet when they already knew what the problem was. The problem was you should have postponed the launch to when the seals weren't frozen open, right? You dumbasses. Right, yeah. Well, Reagan was to blame for that.
Take a shot for another Reagan rant. Of course, take a shot for my Thatcher rant, too.
Yeah, Reagan was definitely the fault for that. And the assholes that wanted to, hey, we got to have this space shuttle back for the State of the Union address for Reagan. So popular. I never understood why Reagan was popular. He was complete disaster. 2005, American jurist Roberts was sworn into the 17th Chief Justice of the criminal organization called the U.S. Supreme Court. And he just was the latest criminal to be appointed in 2005, who basically said, for sale, for sale, for sale, anything for money, decisions for money. That's our Supreme Court now. Totally have no integrity. Our featured event in 1923, 100 ago. Speaking of Palestine, British mandate in Palestine, set in motion by the Balfour Declaration. Heard of the Balfour Declaration? Well, here it is. Mandate for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine was finally approved by the Council of the League of Nations. Don't exist. It came into force in this day in 1923. Went basically nowhere. But World War II had to happen for all of that to happen, and British were trying to do something. Give them credit, but it was a colossal failure, as the League of Nations was, because we elected this idiot named Calvin Coolidge, who decided to be an isolationist. Oh, we don't want to get any more involved in any more wars. Let's not join the League of Nations. So, yeah, that's what happened there. And so we got more wars. Our feature biography, Enrico Fermi, Italian-American physicist, born September 29th, 1901, in Rome, died in Chicago in 1954 at the age of 53. But 53, Fermi, I got to remember, but he was very smart. I'll look it up in a minute, maybe. Our other birthdays, Caravaggio, Italian painter, born 1571. Horatio Nelson, British commander, Admiral Nelson, born on this day, 1758. Jerry Lee Lewis, American rock and roll musician, is turning 90 today. If he was still around, he would be 90. Happy birthday, Jerry Lee Lewis. He only died a couple of years ago, so he got to be quite ancient for rock and roll standards. 1936, Silvio Berlusconi, Italian magnate and prime minister, who basically set the standard for being a criminal and still winning elections.
Thanks.
So it's his birthday today. He'd be 89. I don't think he's around anymore. Hopefully he's not around anymore. Kevin Durant's birthday, American basketball player, turning 37. He was born in 1988. Getting up there in years, Kevin, but he's still playing.
Retire if he's not ready.
I'm not even sure what team he's on. He was on Phoenix, but I'm not even sure anymore. He's changed teams a lot.
I don't know.
Who knows? He's just changed teams so many times. All right. He's changed teams more than some people change socks. No, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But our national days today, it's National Coffee Day. It's only a couple today. It's National Coffee Day. My scroll is broken. National Wildlife Refuge Day. I mean, there's a lot of urban places that have wildlife that you can't hunt them, like deer, but they get really big in urban areas because nobody's hunting and they're smart enough to stay out of traffic. And it's National VFW Day. VFW is Veterans of Foreign Wars, which you don't have to be a veteran of a war to join. I could join and say, hey, I can join the VFW just if I'm a veteran. It's a great organization that'll feed you if you're hungry. Anyway, so VFW, it's their day. Those are your days.
Donate to them or
your
something.
Things that happen in history, your spins, your mispronunciations, and your poorly timed jokes. At least in my case. And that's it. I guess that's it for all of that stuff on September 29th. 2025 on Before Coffee, because it's National Coffee Day.
Say it the right way. Yeah. That's great.
That's right. Before Coffee, right?
We love when that happens. The only day we can celebrate before coffee.
Yep.
So let's take these gloves off, and the ball's in your court now.
Oh, mixing metaphors. Right. I don't know. Wait, I don't have my ball court.
I did look up what the word for pacifier is in Spanish, and it's chupete. Or in Mexico, it's chupon. So there you go.
Get the queen her chupete. What's
it's
the word for
also
queen?
International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste. Yes, this is something a lot of Western countries are guilty of. Oh, we're going to throw this apple away because it has a blemish. What a waste of food. You can't take that home with you. You have to throw it in the trash because we don't want to get liability. Mm-hmm. Okay, I work at a food place. I work at Chipotle or whatever, and I can't take all the chips home after the end of the day because I might sue Chipotle for taking all their chips they're going to throw in the trash. Yeah, a lot of places have food waste. A lot of people lose food to stupid things. Globally, around 3.2% of food produced is lost between harvest and retail, while an estimated 9% of total global food production is wasted in households, as in, oh, I let the kiwis go bad again, yet I guess I have to throw them out. So keep your eyes on that, guys. Work on making sure you don't overbuy, and also maybe check out some, I know there's apps for this where you can see when stores are about to throw away their old food, so then they don't have the
That would
liability.
be nice.
And then you can say, I'm gonna go buy all Walmart's, leftover cream or whatever. Their expired cream.
You can eat the leftover food.
Yeah.
You can eat the leftover food, or you can eat the rats and raccoons that got really fat on it. You can eat them.
Yeah, we're feeding them. And we will see you guys tomorrow for Good News Day, which is all about the good news we're able to find tomorrow and this week, since last Tuesday anyway. So if you want a positive spin on your news, check that out, either by subscribing or following on Twitch. So you turn on the notifications, you get notified when we go live or post a video. And also support the show on Patreon if you would like to do that. If you have a Patreon, it's in chat now, where you can click that, support us for as little as $1, support the show, and of course like the video and share it. If you can't do any of that, comment down below what your favorite story was, how you're rewilding your local area. And here is our mic drop moment.
Now, some top American stand-up comedians are facing backlash.
News story about our
That's for taking
comedians.
part in Saudi Arabia's Riyadh Comedy Festival.
Don't forget that Vladimir Zelensky is a comedian.
and
Started out as a comedian, right?
Yeah, he was an actor,
Critics
playing
say
the
Saudis are
president, and
using
then he
it to
became the
deflect
president.
attention from their human rights record.
So all of these
This
comedians
weekend,
should be
some of
asking
America's
themselves,
most
what
popular
would
comedians
Zelensky
are set to
do?
perform in Saudi Arabia, drawing criticism
Yeah, as
from
in,
human
what would
rights
Jesus do?
organizations.
Yeah.
The Saudi government has long faced accusations of silencing journalists, oppressing women, and supporting terrorism.
Reasons
the majority of the
why
hijackers
not
in the
to
September 11th attacks were
do
Saudi
anything
nationals. The
with
two-week festival
Saudi
in
Arabia.
Riyadh will include comedians such as
Pete
Dave Chappelle,
Davidson's
Kevin
father
Hart,
died
and
at
Davidson.
9/11, and he's
Davidson,
going
whose
over.
father was a New
That's
York
just
firefighter
sad,
killed
right?
on 9/11, defended his decision to participate.
I've been getting a
Pathetic.
little bit of flack just because, like, my dad died 9/11. So
It's a good thing he's not terribly funny, though. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
he's
like that's
that
him
funny.
literally talking about it. Yeah.
And I go,
I saw this clip.
Comedian Shane Gillis says he turned down the gig despite an offer to double his paycheck.
It was a significant bag.
What?
But I've already
Some
said
more
no.
people who are just like,
You know, I took
being
a principled
hypocrites.
stand.
But others are cashing in. One
Yeah.
comedian claiming top acts are
Comedians
earning
can't
up to
take a stand, and there's no
$1.6
hope.
million.
They're just sellouts. They're not comedians
Many
anymore.
pro golfers faced similar
Yeah,
criticism
I mean,
back in
I don't think Jimmy
2022
Kimmel's
for
very
playing
funny,
in the
but he took a
Saudi-backed
stand.
Live Golf Tournament, which also
You know?
Jimmy
offered
Kimmel
big
doesn't
payouts.
have to
Critics
doesn't have
claim the Saudi
to
government
please
is funding
anyone,
such
right?
events
He
to
doesn't feel
soften
like
its
that,
image.
right?
The organization
That's
Human
what real
Rights Watch
comedians
is
should
urging
be.
comedians
I'm not here to
speak
please
out
you.
against
I'm
the
here to make
Saudis,
people laugh.
claiming they're
That's
using
it.
the festival to deflect
Oh,
attention
yeah, not
from its
good when the
brutal
Human Rights
repression of
Watch
free
is like,
speech and
watch out
other
for these
pervasive
guys.
human rights violations.
They're not
These
safe
events are
for
tied to a plan
humanity.
by the Saudi Crown Prince
For
to
human
boost
rights, where we
tourism.
Could you imagine
in
George-
Saudi. Elizabeth Schulze,
If
ABC.
George Carlin wouldn't do this.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels. Toxic Alley, History Gravy, and Scratchy